Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds. And here's me today. I have a diamond in the rough for you guys to meet. This here is frankly the fourth outside linebacker out of Eastern Kentucky. Nice to meet you today, sir.
Sir, appreciate you having me.
Cool. So I had to put in the fourth there. I don't know how many Franklies there are, but apparently several in your family. So and here we got a guy who uh, really contributes in multiple ways on that defense. An exciting player to watch. So, Frank, let's go ahead and get things rolling, man. Introduce yourself.
Sounds good. Frank Lee, played at Eastern Kentucky, finished up at Eastern Kentucky. Played, transfer here from Carson Newman in 2023. Prior to that, I was at Spartanburg Methodist playing basketball, chasing hoop dreams. From Orangeburg, South Carolina, a little small town in South Carolina, about 30 minutes south of Columbia, South Carolina. Uh, yeah, that's pretty much about it.
Gotcha. We'll talk about the hoop dreams here in just a second, but I mean, let's start from the very beginning, man. How long have you played football?
Started out when I was 8, and 24 now, so a little while for sure.
Yeah, so quite some time, 18 years. So pretty much as far back as you can remember, football player. So I'd introduce you as an outside linebacker, but that doesn't always tell the true story. But talk about the early days. I mean, were you playing offense at the time? Talk to me about like
Yeah,
the earlier
so
development of you.
I pretty much played all over. Like my very first year, starting out, I was, a little chubbier guy. So I started out playing center, nose guard, doing rec league. As I got older, middle school, I played inside, primarily inside, outside linebacker. And then when I got to high school, my first few years, I played outside linebacker as well as wide receiver. And then going into my last year, I played a little bit of tight end and outside linebacker. So a little bit of both. Play a little bit of quarterback one game too. So I mean, just kind of all over really, wherever I can help.
Nice. So played a little bit of everything growing up. Let's get us to your high school days. Orangeburg Wilkinson there in Orangeburg, South Carolina. And I have in my notes, pretty good hooper there, playing some basketball, and of course, that with your football days. Talk to me about you as an athlete in high school. Any of your fondest memories?
Oh man, you know, uh, you only have so many games a year. I definitely say one of the things I always look back on is just like the work that goes into it in the off season. The early mornings, waking up, man. It kind of sucks at times, but that's what you have to do in order to kind of be one of the best and just kind of help, hone in on your craft. I'll definitely say I love the process. I'm not gonna say a lot more than the games, but I mean, you put in a lot more in the off season than what you get to display during the season. So I'll definitely say some of my fondest memories would probably be just more so the off season grind, my teammates waking up, more sort of hardships than I'd say the success on the field, on the court.
Gotcha. You talked just briefly about pursuing this hoop dream, and so you spent a little bit of time. You said at Spartansburg Methodist.
Yes, sir.
Um, Talk to me about you as a basketball player. Just a little bit of that success, if you don't mind, and maybe how you feel that helps your game as a football player.
Okay, yeah. So I started out, I played point guard. A lot of people don't believe me. They see me now, a lot more muscular, and they're like, "You did what? You can't dribble." But yeah, I used to play point guard. I love getting my teammates involved. I could score when I want to, but I mean, I was a big team guy, so I enjoy getting my teammates involved. Uh, just fun. I enjoy it because it's a fast-paced game. It's one of the reasons why I initially started out playing. It's just like, man, it's so much more faster. Football, I was like, man, you get a highlight here and there. Basketball is just up and down, up and down, up and down. So that's one of the biggest things I enjoyed about it. Uh, Outside of that, I say my translation, like how does it help me within football? I say it definitely helps with like the open field. And then when it comes to playing zone defenses, I always troll with my coaches saying like, man, like you ever need me to like spot somebody, I can do it. But from basketball, you learn to play the passing lanes, especially when you're playing in zones and stuff, you're in the backside. I'll say one of the biggest things that has helped me with is definitely like in my zone coverage and then just playing in space. Like I read the QB and break on the ball or react, or you have kind of more so I feel like a better feel for where the ball is going to be at. And I just definitely contribute all of that to just playing basketball.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot of like mind games going into that, a whole lot of instincts too. Got to have some great overall anticipation. But again, you were doing that for just a little bit, but then decided to, stick to this football thing. You found yourself at Carson Newman in a very awkward time, actually, there at the very beginning because you're going through the pandemic. But you get there to Carson Newman and eventually found your way onto the field. Talk about the early days of you there at Carson Newman and maybe some of the people around you that influenced you.
Yeah, so decided to transfer to Carson Newman. As I got there, first day of spring ball, we had one day, then everything started shutting down. We got sent home due to COVID. So it was a weird time, but I definitely was grateful for it because it gave me a lot of time to go home and kind of like grow my football knowledge, just kind of expand on my skill set because I always like to say like I was like very raw, kind of coming out of high school. Like, of course, athletic, but like as far as like from a skill standpoint, I feel like I was lacking a lot. So that time gave me some time to go home and just kind of grow my IQ, hone in on some skills. And then I'll definitely say one of the guys there when I first got there is Caleb Gowens. He's now like a coach there now, but definitely helped me because competitiveness helps breed success and just makes you better. So he was one of the guys I was competing with, at the outside linebacker position. And one of the things I learned from him is just getting in that playbook and learning. Knowing where to be at the right time. A lot of times helps a lot more than just being the better athlete on the field. So that's one of the things I've definitely like relied on, and I feel like it's helped me throughout my career so far.
Oh, so you were at Carson Newman from 2020 to 2022, and then you eventually end up hitting the portal and coming to Eastern Kentucky. So, um, how, how did that work out? Like, how did you find yourself there and ultimately making the decision to play for Eastern Kentucky?
All right, so I mean, ironically, well, I was done with school. I was studying physics. So I mean, yeah, I know, but they don't really have a grad program for physics. I wanted to get into like the engineering side. So I was finished with school there. I needed a place to go. Ironically, I went home. I was in the portal, but you know how that is. Like if you don't really have any connections, it's hard to land yourself at a different university or at least upscale anyway. But I happened to be going home. I was at the YMCA playing basketball, ironically, and I came across one of my teammates, Cornelius Evans. He was currently playing at EKU at the time, and he helped me out, sent my film to Coach Derek Day up here, and I want to say he offered me the same night, and that was pretty much the end of it right there.
Awesome. So you get there at Eastern Kentucky, get yourself into the mix there with that defense. And be honest with you, I mean, I feel like, during your time there, like you have played a little bit of everything. I mean, you've played with your hand in the dirt, you've stood up, like you've dropped back into coverage. You've played a lot there in that secondary. Talk a little bit more about that if you don't mind. Just kind of talk about your overall role and maybe some of the other pieces there in that defense.
All right, so transferring in my first year, uh, I always feel like you gotta like prove yourself. You gotta show that you're worthy. So my first year in, I was just trying to do everything I could to just show that I do bring value to the team, especially transferring from a Division II university to a D1. That's one of the biggest things. Everybody wants to see like, well, how would he pan out at a larger school playing against better competition? And I'm not one that shy away from it. I love competition. I always feel like I could play with anybody, regardless of where I'm at. As far as the scheme, Coach Johnson, I feel like the scheme was very simple. especially transferring from Carson Newman, where I feel like I played in a slightly more complex system, played a lot more match man as opposed to here is a lot more kind of like spot dropping-ish, I would say, versus so much, more match. So coming in, I definitely say I caught on to, the way he wanted the things done a lot quicker than probably most guys. Uh, that allowed me to just, be used kind of a little bit of everywhere, down on the line of scrimmage, back in space. And I definitely say that's one of the biggest things that helped me get on the field so early when I got here.
Cool. So you end up getting there, doing all right. I mean, Eastern Kentucky during your time there, I mean, you certainly had your ups and downs, some success in previous seasons. A lot of which on offense, if we're being honest. I mean, a lot of guys on the offense doing very well, helping to sharpen your game. Because you're going one on one with these guys, in practice. Um, Talk to us a little bit more about that, if you don't mind, because I mean, I know you have had a lot of great teammates over the years, but again, I keep thinking about like that defense going up against that offense in practice and how that must look.
Yeah, I mean, it's very competitive, especially my first year here, where we had, Peyton Collins, just won like the Grey Cup and the Super Bowl, got him at left tackle. Then, on the other side, I had Josiah Israel, who, got drafted a year or two ago. Then we got Parker McKinney at quarterback. So, you had to really, it wasn't a whole lot of relying, I'd say, like, on just like my athletic ability. Like, I had to really, like, hone in on my skills. It challenged you to be better as a player, a lot more discipline. We had Braden Sloan at running back. So, we had a real stacked team that year, which definitely drove a lot of, my, I wouldn't say, well, sort of success, but just more so contributes to me growing as a player. Moving forward, we still, had a lot more guys, Jado, uh, man, moving forward, last year, sorry about that. Last year, moving forward, we had Matt at quarterback, another great experienced quarterback that, it always just makes you have to compete a lot harder in practice.
Right. And so a lot of guys really helping to develop you. I mean, some guys that you're seeing like in practice. Um, when we are looking at you as a player, I mean, we've kind of talked about this a little bit already, but I mean, you do bring a lot to the table with some great versatility. But talk just a little bit more about what you bring to the table as an athlete. Some of your better attributes as we're looking at you as a prospect in this year's draft.
Yeah, besides just like my versatility, from that standpoint, I'd say, I'm very twitchy athlete. I definitely still contribute a lot of that to, like the training that goes into like playing basketball, especially at the guard position. You got to be quick, guarding these smaller guys, 5'9", 5'10", very twitchy. So that's one of the things that, I definitely uh developed and gained. Outside of that, I say my first step is pretty quick. Pretty quick first step. During our summer training, I always, I got a little joke. I be telling them, "Welcome to the yard." We be out there racing. Anytime I want to race, I always tell them, "Welcome to the yard. Welcome to the yard." But yeah, that's one of the funnest things in my opinion. Like the off-season training when we're racing, running like the short sprints, shuttles, anything like that. Man, it gets us going. Like I said, I'm a big competitor, so I like to win. Uh, it's definitely one thing that makes me, strive, really hard in that area. Outside of that, I say, I'm decently strong. I wouldn't say like I'm the strongest, but I say in my years of playing, you know, I've definitely been stronger than a good bit of guys I've faced. I'd say on my own, regardless of what level. Uh, yeah, if I just had to describe myself though in a athletic, perspective, I would definitely say just twitchy and then more so on the stronger end of the spectrum.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of on the surface level. I mean, we are getting a guy who, may not appear as strong, like on the, or I'm sorry, as big on the tape, but I mean, you are coming to the table with some really, big mitts for some hands. Over 10 inches there, long, lanky, wingspan, over 80, 82, upwards of that. And so maybe some room to put on some weight. I don't know. I don't want to say that because I mean it all depends on like what the coaches want you to do. But I mean, certainly has some room to do a whole lot. But I mean, you bring to the table that along with your basketball background, your ability to be twitchy, get off the line very quickly and make some plays, bringing a lot as a prospect this year. So. Um, what about talk about some of your best moments as a player so far? And I know you've been at this for a while. I mean, again, you started at
Yeah,
Carson Newman and then ended up here recently, finishing up your time with the Colonels. So let's talk about this past season, man. This past season, some good moments. Very early on in the season, you had a very I don't know, definitive matchup where you were able to really put one over on Houston Christian. You had a couple sacks in that game. So can you walk me through some of that?
yeah. So I felt like I was starting out kind of slow. Wasn't really pleased with myself. I always expect so much, so highly of myself to perform at a higher standard. And so like I said, competition, breeds success. We was out there, started chirping a little bit, just made me play even harder. But it was more so just me just going back, reverting to my training that I like put in the whole summer. Shout out to Dez Walker, trainer I've been training with now for some time. Put in a lot of work with him over the summer. Every break I got, spring break, going back, just training with him, and a lot of that was just me reverting back to that training. It's not nothing that I hadn't been practicing. All throughout fall camp, all throughout the spring. So that's really where that came in. Just reverting to my training.
Gotcha. A lot of trainers there really, helping you out, get bigger, stronger, faster. I know you and I had mentioned, I mean, we have a guy who has a 600-pound squat, so that's kind of nice to be able
Yeah,
to shout out there some of the trainers getting you to that point. But I mean, again, came out with in that game against Houston Christian with a couple of sacks. Um, had a few sacks this year, maybe not as many as you would like, but I mean, a lot of great moments in that one. Can you remember any of those sacks from that particular game, like that play or whatever? Can you talk me through it?
yeah. I mean, I pretty much remember all of them, kind of. A
We'll
lot of
get
my
to a couple more.
That's
Sorry.
cool. Well, yeah, a lot of them. Well, just specifically from that game though. Uh, I tend to set everything up with power. Power, power, speed to power, which then leads me to like my counter. Where I can either the first sack I remember, I just chop rip. I felt like I was gonna go power. He shot his hand, chop rip, and the rest of it was just strained from that point. Was able to get the ball down, strip sack out of the quarterback. Uh, I feel like one of the most notable ones, where I got up and, did the little celly of kicking the door down. I pretty much did the same thing. I've been going power so much the whole game where I got him to start anchoring his feet. And, later, as the game get later, those guys get tired. I'm not 300 pounds, so that's one advantage I got going. Those guys start getting tired. And that particular play, I got him to anchor, thinking I was going, try to go power. And I just ghosted him, went right up under him, was able to run the quarterback down. That was one. And then the third sack from that game was just really strange. I ran a stunt with one of my teammates, Jeremiah Bailey. It wasn't really the cleanest stunt, honestly. I always look at it all the time, like, man, that was sloppy. I got home, but it was really just a strain, just an effort sack. Ran a stunt with him, and just got home, came free.
Well, one more matchup that I want to talk about as I'm looking at our clock and trying to figure out maybe a game that I know that you have some passionate words to say about. You had a matchup against Austin P State. Is very I don't know, passionate mashup there with those guys. A little bit of a rivalry, of course. They were ranked, and you brought them down. So talk about that game if you don't mind.
Oh man, that's a pretty big rivalry. I feel like here that I've learned since I've transferred in, Eastern and Austin P. And so, just going into it, all you hear about is just, the great players they got over there, how good they're doing and how many points they're scoring. It's just Man, I don't want to hear that. That's aggravating. So, uh, me and my teammates, we just, prepared, the whole time, like just, man, we're better. We're just as good. We got the same talent over here. And so, you just want to go out and showcase, whenever you get the opportunity, especially against an opponent like that, y'all got, what it takes as well. And so, just going into that game, I feel like everybody was extremely focused. Not saying that we liked it, throughout other times throughout the season, but just going into that game, I feel like a rivalry definitely brings a different focus and just like hungriness out of everyone. I feel like,
Yeah,
and
so I
so
mean, go ahead, man. You guys ended up winning that one 34-20.
yeah, they put up a great fight. To say we ended up winning by like a touchdown or two, but if you watch the game, it was pretty much a close game throughout the majority of the game. We didn't kind of pull away until the end. But I mean,
Mhm.
it's always fun playing in games like that. And
Well, I
personally, I
mean, it's
love
kind of
playing.
nice that you were very successful in that matchup. Again, with it being such a huge rivalry, of
uh,
course, and your ability to go in there, um, really be a leader also this season, and help your team get that win. I kind of want to lean on that just a little bit. Your overall leadership and your role in this particular season on that defense. With you being the senior most guy there, obviously having a lot of the younger folk lean on you a little bit. Your leadership skills, talk to me. Like, where does that come from?
Man, I just say a huge shout out to my aunt. Growing up, she's a really good leader. Within her workforce or whatever. And then a lot of that just traits just kind of just pass over. But I also say growing up, in a humble, like most humblest way, I've always kind of been like one of the better players on like whichever team I'm on, from rec league all the way up, to now. So I feel like that's kind of one of the things that come with it. Everybody kind of looks up to kind of see like what is it that you're doing, that can make me better than. And so, with my years of experience, transferring in here, I just try to always share, any experience. I feel like I've been through majority of what, these guys are starting to see or go through now, from injuries to, struggling with, losses in family. Like I've kind of been through it all. So, just kind of just letting them know like, hey, like it's gonna be all right, or just providing advice in, areas where I can, even if it's tutoring with school. I've had teammates over here tutoring in math, or helping them with, some type of scholarship event. Just help them any way I can, really.
Great. Frank, want to kind of park on there for a little bit, if you don't mind, because I mean, you had mentioned earlier this, I don't know, fantastic ability off the field in the classroom as a physics guy,
Yeah.
math minor, whatever. Talk to me, man. I mean, what are you trying to do with this degree?
Oh man. So initially my plan was to do physics for 2 years and then transfer to an engineering program. But it didn't work out that way. I ended up finishing with an engineering physics degree, which I'm still grateful for. Math minor, and I'm actually getting ready to graduate again December 4th with my master's in engineering technology with a concentration in construction management. But throughout those years, yeah, there's a lot of hard work and dedication that goes into attaining those degrees. And many nights I wanted to, do away with it, but like I said, my aunt wouldn't allow me. As one person that stayed in my area, anything worth having is, worth working for.
That's just kind of crazy because I mean, for most guys who I talk to that are football players, it is very, very, very rare where I find a guy who is kind of a math geek, if I could say that. But bringing the physics to it, a smart guy off the field in the classroom, of course. Um, Kudos to you, man, for graduating. I know it's not for at least another week or so, but I mean, you're gonna get that one more time, and be able to add that to your resume. It's kind of sweet. So, as we kind of move forward, do you want to get a chance to meet you off the field, even more so, if at all possible? Anything else that you want to tell the people about you, other than the fact that you're good on the field and in the classroom?
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, several things, I guess get into like hobbies a little bit, I guess.
Yeah,
Like to cook a little bit. I mean, I do a little bit of everything. I consider myself a jack of all trades, play the game a little bit, I cook a little bit, fish a little bit. I enjoy roller skating. I kind of do it all, man, just whatever.
roller skating for
Yeah, that's like I feel like that's kind of like a big thing kind of down south. I feel like
okay.
growing up, I used to go roller skating every weekend. Like, hey, you going to the skate rink tonight? That was one of the big things before I kind of really got into sports, really, or I just play sports throughout the week, but on the weekend I was somewhere skating. So,
Bro, you got stronger ankles than me. Like I can't skate much at all, but it's fine. I really like that. Couple silly questions to get to. Again, these are just for fun, not football related. So,
gotcha.
um, let's see, favorite home cooked meal.
Man, I'd say, man, I'd probably say it used to be macaroni and cheese growing up, but now my aunt makes this really good broccoli casserole. So I mean, it's I'm kind of all over the place. It's more so a mix. I don't really have a particular just one dish. It's more so what I'm feeling like at the time. But
I got you.
I'd say those are top two for sure.
Thanksgiving's coming up soon. So,
Right.
like, what is the one dish on Thanksgiving that you just really enjoy the most? Is it the broccoli casserole or is it something else?
Uh probably like the sweet potato like souffle, probably. I love that, or candy yams, whichever.
That
That's,
that works.
yeah, it's probably something I look forward to for sure.
Definitely appreciate that one. As you are getting ready for a football game, do you find yourself a superstitious guy? You got to put on your gear a certain way, or listen to a particular song or something like in your iPod. I mean, talk to me.
No, I'm not very superstitious. I just I pray, but I also feel like too, you put in that work, leading up to that game, so I don't really fret, my performance. I know, the work I put into it leading up to that moment. And, I'm confident in my coaches and the plans and the training and everything. So I don't really be all that superstitious. I'm actually like really calm pre-game. Some guys get really hyped. I'm real chill. Like you probably wouldn't know I'm about to play a game. I'm listening to music. I'm not probably saying a whole lot. I don't really talk a lot pre-game, but I'm not, real energy, like energetic. I'm just chilling somewhere, just, kind of visualizing myself going through, plays, making plays, and that's just pretty much all I do.
Cool. Who are you a big fan of at the next level? Like, who are you? Whose film are you studying? Like, I don't know, like, maybe which team you root for or whatever. Like, I'm thinking of a guy who might be rooting for Von Miller, but I mean, I'm not trying to put words in your
Yeah,
mouth. Talk to me.
yeah, that's definitely what I was gonna say, Von Miller. Because I mean, he's slightly taller than me, but he's not a guy in the league that's like, oh, like he's a freak. Like just looking at him from a measurement standpoint. And so, I enjoy watching, guys like that that's, kind of similar to me and just kind of seeing like how they pan out, what helps them be successful at the next level. He's definitely the number one guy, I watch. I watch, a plethora of other guys just, just more so from a move standpoint though, not necessarily
Sure, sure.
what, benefits them the most. So I watch a plethora of people just kind of seeing like different moves, but the one person I study the most is definitely Vaughn.
Awesome. Well, Frank, I know one of these days you want to find yourself in, one of those locker rooms that maybe he's been a part of. But before we get there, we have this pre-draft process.
So,
You got to go through some things like with training and all-star events and such. And so hopefully you get those things taken care of and get an opportunity in the pros. As we close up our time here, what do you got to say to all those scouts out there? I mean, any last words that you want to give them as to the player they'd be getting if they took a chance on you? So close this out, man.
yeah, I definitely say hard working, kind of just willing to do anything, just very mature. You don't really have to worry about any off the field issues for sure. But someone who's gonna come in and contribute it all, day in, day out, on and off the field, really. Just doing anything I can to just help make the program better. Big team guy. Uh, I feel like a lot of guys, they look down on like the special teams aspect. I'm a team guy. I play anything wherever I can fit in to help. I was a starter this past year, and I started almost on every special teams. Like I don't really care wherever I can get in and help. I just want to, win. So I definitely say that's one of the biggest things.
Yeah, I mean, you bring a lot to the table, got some nice size to you, some versatility in your game, ability to contribute all over, and as you said, also on special teams too. So, Frank, want to wish you all the best of success from here on out. Okay,
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
sure thing. Once again, I got Frank Lee, the fourth outside linebacker, Eastern Kentucky.
Yes, sir.
Check him out.